afternoon, Titans of the Future.
I'm Sally.
I'm Elise.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Noelle. It's currently 1922, and we're here to inform you the breaking news that the Russian Revolution has officially ended. We have just heard that Vladimir Lenin and the Communists have created the USSR, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We're sure that you are all quite confused about the events that have taken place in our country.
So let's start from the very beginning.
What has led to all this chaos happening?
Peasant discontent all started with mass Jewish executions known as pogroms.
The surprising defeat against Japan in the Russo-Japanese War and the resulting Russian Revolution of 1905 left Russia filled with tension.
Citizens were angered with how their country was left after the war against the Japanese. Many members of the working classes wanted change. They marched to the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg to peacefully protest the Tsar, but troops opened fire and killed hundreds. This event became known as Bloody Sunday and sparked the revolution.
Tsar Nicholas soon issued the October Manifesto, which created the Duma, a legislative body. The solution proved to be short-lived. With the assassination of the commander-in-chief, Tsar Nicholas soon took away the power of the Duma. The citizens left unsettled when there was no real outcome of the revolution.
Along with all of this, Russia's participation in the Triple Entente compelled them into the Great World War I. However, they were greatly unprepared. The Russian tactic of sending more men, unarmed and untrained, led to great loss and huge discontent within Russia. Russia was using its money to send its men into suicide while families were still left starving.
During this time, Russia was an autocracy under Tsar Nicholas II. However, World War I challenged the Tsar's regime. Peasant and middle-class discontent continued to worsen, and the monarchy could not stay afloat.
The Tsar's wife, Tsarina Alexandra, under the influence of her hero Rasputin and his Tsarist goals, kept Tsar Nicholas blind from the growing discontent of the peasant and working classes.
Every class in Russian society was becoming more and more discontent each day. The masses knew something needed to be done to solve the situation. They started by brutally assassinating Rasputin in December of 1916.
The majority felt this crime to be necessary for Rasputin's growing influence due to the help of Tsarina Alexandra.
Now, let's get into the revolution. You guys are in for a treat. We have found previous broadcasts from the events that have taken place.
Let's hand it on over to the past anchors.
The day is March 8th, 1917. As of right now, the air is filled with revolution. Various revolts have broken out in the city of Petrograd. Women from all over the city are protesting against the Tsarist regime and the rationing of resources.
And here we have Elise reporting live on the scene.
We have the exclusive insight on the strikes right here in Petrograd. Come take a look.
Peace and bread! Down with the autocracy! Peace and bread!
Down with the autocracy!
Peace and bread!
What do you want?
Peace and bread!
Anything else?
Down with the autocracy!
Here we have a member of the Russian troops. How do you feel about all this?
Well, I was ordered here to crush the uprising, but I've been caught in the cause. Piece of bread, yo.
There you have it, comrades.
Coming in on March 12, 1917, it's safe to say that these past few days have been full of conflict. The word is that the Duma met behind Tsar Nicholas's back, resisting his attempts to dissolve the organization.
The day is March 15th, and we have just been informed that Russia has established a provisional government. Oh wait, just in. The Tsar has been renounced from the throne. This is insane news! Do you realize what this means for our country?
The provisional government is working towards a parliamentary democracy and would like to pass several reforms regarding universal suffrage and equality.
Wow, those people were really going through it. However, they still have a new challenge to face.
The Soviets.
They represent socialist lower classes that have more radical ideals. They are split into the Mensheviks and Bolsheviks.
The Bolsheviks are under the guidance of Vladimir Lenin, a man who has always been against the Tsarist regime, from the vengeance of his assassinated older brother. He ultimately came to lead the Bolshevik wing of the party, which believes in using violent revolutions to destroy the capitalist system. Let's see what reports we had on that then.
Tuning in on this fine July day of 1917, let's take a quick recap. Lenin was accused of attempting to overthrow the provisional government and was forced to flee to Finland.
In this same month, a new prime minister was elected into the provisional government, Alexander Kerensky.
He released the Bolsheviks from prison, which strengthened the Soviets and showed the weakness of the government.
The group then gained support of Leon Trotsky, giving them hope of seizing power for the Soviets. Stay tuned in the following months to see if they do. We made it through November, comrades. Happy December! Here's a recap of what happened over the previous month.
The Bolsheviks took control of Petrograd on November 6th. Quickly and easily, they overthrew the provisional government.
On November 8th, Lenin pronounced the new Soviet government with himself as the leader. This all came to be known as the November 1917 Revolution. Tuning in on March 3rd, 1918, the Russians latched to the promise that Lenin was going to bring them peace, meaning he must give up territory.
The Russians gave him no choice but to cave in. The government had to sign the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Let's hear what Lenin had to say for himself.
We are joined today with Vladimir Lenin. How do you feel about this treaty?
We were forced to give up territory in Poland, Ukraine, Finland, and the Baltic. Giving up this land made no difference. The spread of the socialist revolution makes it all irrelevant, but I assure you, peace will prosper.
Since our last report, Russia has been swept by civil war. Russia was divided between the Red Army, who supported the Bolsheviks, and the White Army, who were anti-Bolshevik.
With White Army instability and Red Army advantages, the Red Terror found success in the goals of communism.
One factor that led to the success of the Red Army was their policy of war communism. Their nationalization of banks and industries, centralized state administration, and requisition of peasant grains were all instruments of their power.
One of their greatest tools were their secret police, the Cheka, bringing revolutionary terror amongst the people and abolishing the class enemies, especially the bourgeoisie.
Although the practice of war communism brought great triumphs to the Bolsheviks under Lenin's rule, it also proved disastrous for the economy and agriculture. Peasants were starving and famine caused thousands of deaths. Lenin's new economic policy pulled Russia out of this hole.
Lenin's modification of the old capitalist system helped restore Russia.
And now you understand, fellow Titans, how we're here in the year 1922 under the Soviet Union.
Thanks for tuning in!